So my dad ends up going to Nigeria. I guess at the time, his focus was his mum. And as all of us know, as we go through life, especially when you're in a relationship or in a marriage, at certain points in time, you're going to have that heart-wrenching decision when you may have to choose between your mother and your wife, your mother and your partner, and so on and so forth, your father and your partner. It happens in most families. My dad made a decision to go and be with his mum. But what I'm really trying to say is, I was 7 years old when my dad left. My dad left when I was 7 and came back, I believe, when I was 12 or 13, 12 probably. Between the years of 7 and 12, a lot of damage was done in my life. I was exposed to a lot of things that I should not have been exposed to. Remember, my mum had a broken leg. She couldn't really cope with two wayward, boisterous boys. By the time my dad had come back, I was already running the streets. By the time my dad had come back, my brother and I had already started to get up to a lot of unproductive. I had already been exposed to too much. My dad wasn't around, so I also spent a lot of time in my friends' houses and was exposed to what their parents were getting up to. Many of my friends, their parents were already smoking drugs, were already smoking weed, and pornography was normal in many of these people's homes, so I was exposed to it. Some of these people at the age of 11 and 12 were already allowed to bring their girlfriends into their house. I had already started sneaking out to parties and clubs and rave at such a young age. After a lot of pressure from my mum, my dad eventually came back, but by the time my dad came back, things were out of control. He tried for a while, thinking just because he was back that he could change things back to the way they were. And the reality is that he couldn't. So he then decided, rather than me lose my children, I'm going to send them to Nigeria. So he now decided to send me and my brother to Nigeria. But the problem with that was he was sending us to Nigeria without him or my mum being there. So from the age of 7 to 11 or 12, I'm without my father. And from the age of 12 to about 18, I'm without my father again. 7 to 11, 12, I'm without my father in the United Kingdom. From about 12 till about 17, 18, I'm without my father in Nigeria. And that is why I always say my parents gave birth to me, but there were other men that raised me. So I had pretty much 10 years plus of my life without a father. So damage was done here in the UK. And in my father trying to rectify the damage by sending us to Nigeria, more damage was done. We were pretty much, we did our own thing in Nigeria. Don't forget, our parents had money. So in Nigeria, because of how economics work, people generally tend to bow to the people and the children that have money. So a lot of damage was done. We lived with a certain uncle and auntie for a while. I won't even go into what we experienced, especially what I experienced in their hands. And by the age of 13 and 14, I had already started enjoying Nigerian Guinness and what's the word? Experimenting with cigarettes, living a wayward life. In 1996, people said to my dad, look, if you leave this guy in this country, it's only a matter of time before he joins one of the cults. I was wayward, I was boisterous. My dad now brought me back to this country, but I had spent 10 years without any real guardian. I had spent 10 years without any real discipline. 7 days after coming back to the UK, I move out of my parents' house and I move in with a woman. We'll be back for part 3.